Welcome, friend. We are excited to help you discover your look. Tomorrow Lucy Boutique to help women find classy and chic fashion for all. It's not your experience. If your size, you can go on our website and purchase your size in your favorite outfit.
Hello, 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 everyone. This is your girl Shanidra with Let's Dig Deep. Yes, indeedy, if you can hear me clearly. Now, today's title is Perception. So, before I get on the road, I'm going to let you guys flow with the video. Here you go.
Williams once said, "Imagine what 7 billion humans could accomplish if we loved and respected one another." Just imagine. Imagine if there was no greed. Imagine if there was no comparison. If everyone was running their own race, but cheering for all others at the same time. Maybe we'll never see that in our lifetime. But what we all can do is start with ourselves. Start with yourself. Choose to lift others up. Choose to set the example of kindness and integrity, the example of compassion and understanding. There's a quote that's rich or who you believe you are, how you treat people ultimately tells all. Integrity is everything. It really is. Who you are is far more important than what you have, and it will always be. Who you are is measured by how you make others feel. Be kind to each other. In a world where you can be anything, be kind. Choose to be the change you wish to see in the world. Decide you will not wait for someone else. You will set the example. Be kind. Because you never know how much that person is suffering inside. You never know the difference your words can make, the difference your presence can make, the difference you can make to one human life. Be the reason someone believes in the goodness of humanity. Be the reason someone else decides to make a difference in others. Be the influence you want to see more of. Always do what is right, not what is easy in moment. Kindness spreads like a virus. When you do good to another, that person does better to those they come in contact with. You really make a difference in the world. In the long run, the sharpest weapon of all is a kind and gentle spirit. No one has ever made themselves great by showing how small another is. Be kind and always build others up to the best of your ability. Treat everyone with the same level of kindness that you would like for yourself. Not because everyone is nice, but because you are. Because karma makes no mistakes. Because it is right. Because you have integrity. Because you want this world to be better when you leave than when you arrive.
Okay, hello, hello, hello again, my friend. I am about to begin on today's title. Today's title is perception. So let's go with the flow and get the definition. The definition of perception is the ability to see, hear, or become aware of something through the senses. See, hear, that's why I tell y'all, every morning, I'm like, thank you, Lord, for waking me up this morning, allowing me to be able to see, walk, talk, breathe, move, hear, and all the things that you continuously do. Continuously do. So I won't be confused. As you know, even when he healed the blind man that was blind from birth, he didn't let him just go after he, spit on his hands and made him understand his plan. He asked him, what do he see? He wanted to see how he perceived things, how he see things. What was his perception of things? And when he said that he see people as trees and stuff, he was like, oh no, we got to do this again, my friend, before I can let you begin. I don't want you to sin. Because I want you right from within, my friend. Because once you are right from within, it comes out at the end. And you win. So, I want to make sure that you got this under control, that you see and hear things clearly in reality. God wants to make sure that we can see things in reality, what's really clearly happening. Clearly, see things clearly. That's why he said, be slow to speak, but quick to listen. Because the way we perceive things is the way that we see things. I could see, like, the other day, now this big old black dog, I mean, bulky black dog come running after me. My mom's next door neighbor's dog. And, she just charging, like, soon as she see me, I'm getting out my car and I'm just trying to go straight to the door. But no, this dog look like it's out of control. And I'm like, why did they let it go? So in my head, the way I perceive things, like this dog is about to attack me. That's how I perceive, that's how I see things. Like this dog about to come at me. It's about to attack me. But when it came up to me, it just sniffed me and, was wanting to lick me. But I was like, oh no. She was like, oh, she's just been friendly. She's just excited to see you and la-di-da-di-da. And I'm like, okay, but bye. I ain't got time. But, the way I perceived things was totally different than what the dog's intentions was. The way I saw it was like this dog about to attack me. But the dog wasn't trying to attack me. It was running towards me to, I guess, show some love in its own way. So perception is everything. The way you see things. The way you perceive things is the way that you view things. It's the way that you react to things. Because I could have reacted in a different way and started beating that dog. Because I could have been in survival mode. If I didn't control and let go and let God. Because, honey, baby, the way I perceive things, I thought that this dang on dog was trying to come at me. I thought it was about to attack me. Or whack me. So, but the way I perceived things was not the reality of it. It did not attack me at all. It didn't even knock me down. Now, you see how small I am. And it didn't even, this is a big, bulky black dog. It did not knock me down. So its intentions was totally different than the way I had perceived it to be. I perceived it as an attack. Like this dog is running up to me. I haven't done nothing to this dog. And it's about to attack me. That's all I'm thinking and I'm seeing and I'm hearing. I'm like, oh my goodness. Soon as it seen me pulling up, it started barking. So I'm like, oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. But I'm like, well, my dog barks, so maybe it's just barking just to bark. Get out the car. Oh, it's starting to run and charge towards me. I'm like, oh no, this is out of control. This is out of control. So if I didn't have a dog, I probably would have ran or yeah, that's 9 times out of 10 the way I handle things. I used to run from dogs. And my brother can tell you that we was taking the trash one time and I was gone. Soon as I saw a dog, I was gone. But it didn't even chase my brother, the one that stood there. It didn't chase him, it was chasing me because I ran. Because of the way I perceived it, it was about to eat me up. That's what I thought it was about to do. That's what I was seeing. I saw it coming at me. That's what it looked like. That's what it looked like. So I reacted based off of what I thought, the way I perceived things, in my perception. But that's not always the reality of things. I didn't get attacked by the dog yesterday. But the way I perceived things when it was coming at me, I thought it was about to attack me. Exactly. But it didn't. So God is saying he wants you to start quitting the way that you view things. He wants you to see things clearly. He wants to renew your mind so you won't be blind all the time. So you can see fine. You can see and hear things clearly. That's why he didn't let him go the first row. He didn't let him go. After the second time, when he could see things clearly, he was like, okay. Now go and, At first, it was like, oh no, he did not tell him to go after the first time, after he was able to see, because he wasn't seeing things clearly. And sometimes you might have to be, renewed again, my friend. I've been baptized again. I got rebaptized when I became an adult. And I realized, oh, I'm in sin. I got to get out of this sin that I'm in. And I had to begin to acknowledge my wrong and stop condoning my wrong, stop trying to justify and hide and lie and deny, stuff that I knew that God did not abide in, because it's sin. That's what he said, it's a sin, so it's a sin, period. No matter how you want to look at it, that's what it is and what it's going to be. No matter how you want to perceive it, that's what it is. So we're going to have to get things under control. We're going to have to see the true visual of what it really is. And the only way that we can really say that we are truly seeing things clearly is if we stop and pray to the Almighty and try to do it his way. And the simple thing, like the video said, treat people the way you want to be treated. The way you do things is not the way other people do things. The way I do things, don't nobody do things the way I do things. And that's okay, because he didn't make us the same way. None of us is the same. None of us. Not even some of us. My kids ain't even like me. They came out of me. They not even completely like me. Like, my daughter has a lot of characteristics from me, but she's still not me. She's her own person. She is her own person. I'm my own person. So the way I do things may be totally different, but your perception of the way I do things can be totally different. The perception of the way that they saw Jesus. They wanted to quote the Bible to the Bible, pretty much. To God. I mean, you're talking to God in the flesh. Yahweh, you talking to Yahweh. And you want to tell Yahweh, oh, you wasn't supposed to heal the blood. What am I supposed to do? Oh, since I'm supposed to rest today, I can't even help nobody today. I cannot help nobody because it's about me and me and me and me. You know, I can't see nobody else because this is my rest day. God told me not to deliver nobody. He didn't say all that nonsense. He said that actually, if we see somebody that needs clothes, we're supposed to give them clothes. If we have it, we see we're not supposed to just say, "Oh, you need clothes. You need to go get you some clothes." Clearly, they know they need clothes, so we're not supposed to just tell them what they already know. If they need food to eat, we're supposed to give them something to eat. Just stuff you would want done unto you. So this can't be confusing. You don't want nobody using you for their platform. Oh, look at me giving, somebody some food or whatever. No. You wouldn't want people putting you on blast just to give you something. Most people don't have to ask me for nothing. If I see that you need something, I just here, you can have it. It's not that big of a deal. Especially if I have it and I don't need it. What am I holding on to it for? Oh, to stop you? Can't nobody stop you. But you. But you. Can't nobody stop you but you. So perception is everything. The way you perceive things, the way you see things is everything. It determines the way you treat people, the way you heard something, because the way you see it is like nothing. Like if I didn't listen to the lady because I was in my own head, the way I perceive things, I wouldn't. She could be talking and I'll be like, mm-hmm. No, your dog was trying to attack me, but the dog never attacked me. But it was the way I perceived it. And if I didn't take a second look at it, then I would have perceived it wrong because the dog never attacked me. It sniffed me and tried to lick me. That was it. And tail was just a wag and it was excited. But again, thankfully, I have a dog of my own, so I know some of the things, even though this is a big dog. I don't deal with big dogs, but when my little dog hears my car or sees that I'm close or whatever, her tail gets to wagging. She's just so excited to see me or whatever. And that's, just how they are. And she'll start running after me because she's excited to see me. So, but this one, I didn't run because I was like, I did see the tail wagging. But it's still, I did not know because it was just hurrying. I mean, this is a big, bulky black dog coming at me. So I'm just like, oh, what the heck? And I'm looking at the lady like, you just going to let this dog eat me up? But I backed up and I was like, no, surely she's looking. Surely she's not going to allow anything, to happen because, honey. Trying to be funny, honey, but she's going to be paying me some money. Honey, if anything happened. But, everything was under control. It was just the perception, the way I saw things. I mean, and I would have reacted. Normally, I would have reacted differently. Like I used to. I used to run. Like, I see a dog charging after me. I'm like, oh, you ain't getting me. I was supposed to be a track runner. I used to run fast. I don't know how fast I can run now that I'm a little bit older, almost in my 40s. But I'm sure I'm still fast. I mean, I think because that was just a natural thing, So, but I don't know. You just never know. But honey, it wasn't gonna get me. But since now that I don't know how fast I can flow or go, honey, I just stood there Didn't move. Try not to let it smell any fear or anything like that. So it wouldn't perceive anything either. So, but everything was under control. It was just the perception. So when you are out, the way you perceive things is the way you deal with things. I mean, the way you do things is based off of that. Perception is a lot. It's everything. Something go wrong. Oh my gosh, this must not be from God. Oh my goodness, it's not meant for me. Ooh, God is like, that's exactly what's meant for you. It's not going the way you think it should go, but it's going the flow I want it to go. I know it's not usual, but normally when I know God told me something and everything goes against the very thing that God told me to do, I don't get confused. I'm like, oh, this is exactly what he want me to do. But that's the way I perceive things. That's the way I see things. I'm like, oh, okay, I see. Like I already know what I need to do. At that time, I know exactly what I need to do. I'm like, oh, okay. So he told me to get on this road 8 years ago. He told me to take the leap of faith and, start my own business. Soon as I was supposed to start my own business, like God told me to do, I know it was him. I thought, surely I'm going to have childcare. People are going to be so supportive of me. This is just going to work out because God told me to do it and la-di-da-di-da. I had a total opposite, honey. Everybody was looking at me funny. They was like, what are you doing? You have kids and la-di-da-di-da. And I'm like, so are you going to be able to help me if you get a job? I'm like, I heard this from God. I'm telling you, this is what God told me to do. Like, I got to take this leap of faith. I got to start this photography business. This is what's going to have to happen. I'm already at rock bottom. I can't go down no lower. All I can go is higher from this point. So at this point, my lowest point, I need to go higher. And this is the way God says he's going to take me higher. Well, you're gonna have to figure something out. I gotta work. I got this to do, boom, boom, boom. So the support that I thought I was gonna have didn't have. Nobody understood it because they were leaning to their own understanding. And then I thought, well, neither one of my kids was school age. I mean, I had a 2-year-old and a 4 or 5-year-old. And he couldn't even start school until he was 6 because of his birthday in September. So I had 2 babies that, I'm about to take this leap of faith and I couldn't even get anybody to watch them. Mind you, me and the dad had just ended everything. So everything was going wrong when I, went the opposite way of the world. And I didn't do it their way. And, I even tried to get help with childcare. And I was like, oh, yeah, I'm about to start a business for my kids. And, I'm going to be this and that. And they was like, if you're not working 20 hours a week, we're not going to help you with childcare and you're not going to get anything from us. I'm like, I'm going to start a business. That's better than 20 hours a week. Like, making nothing. But, didn't get childcare, couldn't get childcare. Everything was starting to get cut off. And I was like, what in the world? So I had talked to God again. I'm like, do you want me to do this at this time? Because everything is going the opposite way that I thought it was going to be. And God was like, keep going. You with me. Follow me. That's what he said. Follow me. And I will help you be who you are destined to be. Honey. Don't act funny, honey. Now, Romans. Okay, now I get it. I had to go with the flow of God. So, because I didn't understand why we were going to do Romans, the 12th chapter, verse 2. But I was like, okay, how did this go but I went with the flow. So as you know, it says a living sacrifice. Therefore, I urge you, we're going to start with the first verse. Romans, the 12th chapter, starting at the first verse. Therefore, I urge you, brothers and sisters, in view of God's mercy, to offer your bodies as a living sacrifice, holy and pleasant to God. This is your true and proper worship. And we have to give all of us to him and not them. So we are giving most of our time and most of us to the job. We're not doing things for God. We don't have time for God. If we keep putting God to the side to do what they have us to do, it said we're supposed to give all of us, this whole body, all of this to God. It's not just sexual, it's that too. So if you giving any parts of your body, any parts of this, any parts of it, lips or anything, if you're giving any parts of this body to anybody else instead of God, before you do it in God. Now, if you do it in God, if you are married, you are free to do what God allows you to do, honey. Because trust and believe me, when that day comes, as soon as it comes, me, baby, God already knows, honey. Honey, I'm gonna have my fun, honey. But anyways, we have to obey and pray to the Almighty and do it Yahweh. So we have to give our full bodies, all of it, not some of it, not part of it, not a little bit of it, all of our bodies to God. We're gonna have to decide who we're gonna ride with. Because if we don't quit doing things that's not legit in God, we're hiding behind a lie and we're denying God. We're denying that He is the one that provides for us. We're denying that because we're not applying that in our faith. Our faith is beyond sight, beyond what we see in front of us. Because in front of us, it's going to look crazy. That's why He said, lean not into your own understanding, but to acknowledge Him in all your. You have to, because everything is going to be confusing. It is going to be confusing. You're going to be like, oh my goodness, what in the world? Because I was like, Lord, what is going on? I told everybody, I thought everybody was going to be excited. Nobody's excited for me. Everybody's basically turned their back on me. I don't have nobody. He was like, you got me. I'm like, I'm thankful for that. But, is this what you want me to be? Is this what you want me to do? Because I'm a little bit confused. I'm trying not to lean to my own understanding. I'm trying to do what you have me to do. But I don't have a clue. And you don't have to have a clue. You don't have to know what you're going to do. Because I used to think I had to know exactly, or my anxiety was going to be just crazy, because I have to know. I mean, A, B, C, D, E, F, G. I have to have all of these, if this don't work, I'm going to do this and this and this and this. And He still allows me to, have everything in order. But I go with the flow of Him, not them. I'm available to Him and not them. I'm not available to nobody else but God. Nobody. If God told me to do something else and I plan something, I'm sorry. And I will apologize because I have to do things with decency and in order. But I will apologize and let them know that, I got to go on a different road. Because He may have had me to see things that I didn't quite see when I had accepted or did something. But once He showed me that that's not the way He wants me to go, I have to get it under control real fast so I can last and I won't be a thing of the past. And He won't put me on blast. So if you don't want to be put on blast and you do want to last, because I'm sure everybody saw that pastor that got exposed. Now, what he did afterwards was, good to me. That's why I perceived that he was in repentance. He, is no longer being a pastor or whatever he's doing. He's trying to get himself right. We cannot, whatever he did, that's what he did. That's between him and God. That has nothing to do with me, but him repenting publicly and acknowledging his wrong. God will handle the rest. We've been in mess too. Now, just because I ain't never did none of that, or I've never smoked or drunk or anything, I still, I'm not. Who can judge? Really, we can judge righteously. We can just say what is right, but the true judge is God. We're just like the jurors. When I had jury duty, we were able to, look at things and see if there's some grace that we can shed, which, I was shedding all the grace for this Black man that was, they was trying to bring stuff up that was from the past. And once God forgave that, it's a thing of the past. They was bringing up stuff from 2007 to put on 2022. That was crazy. But, God put me in that position to be able to shed the grace, and I was the one that volunteered to speak. Because I'm like, no, can I be the one? I was only one, was I the only? It was one other Black person in the jury. It was two of us in there. I need to be the one vouch for mine. Now, if he did a crazy crime, I would not, but all we are is like the jury. That he's the ultimate judge at the end of the day. No matter what you say, at the end of the day, God is going to judge. He is the judge. I tell you what God said is right. I judge righteously. I tell you what is right. But once I'm done telling you what he had me to tell you, I'm done. Do you? You don't got to justify nothing to me. You ain't got to say nothing to me. If you was convicted, that's between you and God. That has nothing to do with Shanidra. All I want God to see is that I'm doing what he has me to do. That's it. That's it. I'm not trying to micromanage nobody. I'm not watching nobody's stuff. I'm not trying to do none of that weird stuff. I don't have time for that. God has me busy doing a lot of things that he has me to do. And when you are in God, you don't have time to be watching and trying to figure out what somebody else is all about. You're trying to figure out what you are and what God has you to do. And he will have you busy. And you need him. You can't do all this thing. You can't do none of the things that God has you to do on your own. I keep telling y'all that's what is wrong with the world today. They think that they can do this on their own, but you can't. Not what God has you to do. Now anybody can do what somebody tell me to do. But that's another thing. Thank you, Lord. He on the road. He said that you can do what they tell you to do, but you refuse to do what he has you to do. But you say that you obey the Almighty and you do it his way, but you don't listen to him every day. You don't even acknowledge him. You acknowledge a job or a ride or some other guy or girl before you talk to him. You acknowledge them before him. But you say with your words, not in your actions, not what you're showing God in your actions. Because I had to work on what I was showing God in my actions. Yes, I truly in my heart love God and believe in God and all of that stuff. But the way my schedule was, going to school, working, I didn't even have time for myself. I didn't have time for my kids. I didn't have time for nothing. All I had time for was to go to church, and that was it. And then, I try to give 30 minutes. I'm like, well, before I go to bed, I'm gonna give them 30 minutes before I go to bed because I've had a busy day. I'm tired, and that's how I was. I just didn't think I had the time. I'm doing everything that he has, but he was like, "That's not what I have you to do. I don't have you to do that. I didn't tell you to do that. You did that on your own because you don't believe in me. You believe in them over him and your actions. We're talking about what your actions are showing him. The way you perceive things, you see things and you're like, oh, I have to work this so I can make this, and you don't. They're saying that you won't believe it. You don't believe in God. You're just walking around with a fake facade, and you don't know that, but you're denying God because you scared to do it His way. Because you have to know everything. I know because I've been there, done that. I gotta know. I gotta know how much I'm there. I got kids. I know. Leaning into my own, I know. But as I watched God during the pandemic, when I couldn't do my photography, when I couldn't do nothing but sit around with my kids all day, because they used to be in school. I had a lot of time. I was, able to do a lot. But when COVID hit, I didn't forget that He didn't quit on me. He still supplied and handled all my needs. He provided for me, literally. It wasn't my business. It wasn't me. It wasn't nothing but God. That's what helped me to make other moves. I didn't have all this money when I got the building. It was a 13-room building. I wasn't even looking at no 13-room building. The little bitty building I was looking at was a little bitty room that, wasn't even $1,000. Because I didn't think, I didn't know what God, but it led me that way. But when I looked at the reality of it, I'm like, oh, this ain't going to really do what I needed to do. So the man was like, oh, well, I'll show you this other building I have. It's the only other building I have, but I think this will be perfect for what you're looking for. And I'm like, oh, okay. So I look and I'm like, it's got 13 rooms and he talking about giving me all these rooms. I just told him I'm trying to stay on budget. I'm not trying to spend all this money. I ain't got money like that. I was just thinking, in my own understanding, looking at my circumstance, the way I perceive things, I didn't think I had it. All I really got is my rent money. That's all I was thinking. Like, okay, I got $1,800 left in my account. 1,200 was going to my rent. 600 was going to. 400 was going to my car. Then the rest was insurance and gas. That's it. That's all I had. That's all I. At that moment that he told me yes, and that I needed to get the building, I was like, what? I'm gonna make sure. I was just trying to make sure that I was hearing him clearly, like this was God. I just wanted to make sure. And he was very clear. He was like, say yes. So the man was like, I'm gonna give you all of December. Since I think it was like December 5th when I said yes. And it was like, I'll just give you the rest of December and then you'll just start in January. I was like, okay. I was like, good. I signed it in January, but he's gonna let me, start putting my stuff in here, all of December. So January I could be ready, That's when I didn't get the money until January. And I was like, oh, thank you, Jesus. You know, he just dropped a whole lump sum. And I was like, thank you, Jesus. Thank you, Lord. You know, all of this. And it was just amazing how he was moving and grooving. But we cannot, the whole thing is we cannot base stuff off our perception, because I would have, you know, not gotten that building. And then God furnished the 13 rooms, because I didn't even have no money. I barely had money for the building when he said yes. Then furnishing 13 rooms. Now all of the rooms was furnished with nice, you know, office desk, all of them, but we had to get rid of all those desks because God said, I was thinking, oh, I can have businesses. I had contacted some of my friends. I was like, I got office space for you, you know, boom, boom, boom. I won't even charge you hardly nothing just to start out, boom, boom, boom. You know, because he gave me a great deal on 13 rooms. I was like, oh, wow. You know, I could barely say no to that because it was just a little bit over what I had initially said I could pay, you know, for all those rooms. That was nothing but God too. But anyways, that's what I thought. And then God was like, no, this is going to be an academy. This is going to be this and this. And I want this in this room. So that's why y'all saw all those different things, the nail salon, the hair, the theater room, the photography room, all those art rooms, the computer room, the podcast room, I can't remember all the room. Oh, my boutique room, the kids' boutique room, the classroom, the conference room. You know, it had 13 rooms in there. And it was nothing but God. And thankfully, I did not, you know, miss my blessing to be able to be a blessing to others. Because, and then, you know, the kids that began in my academy, you know, wasn't able to pay. And I was like, well, Lord, you know, at this moment, I'm barely able to pay for my own 2 kids. And you want to add, you know, 10 more kids. So that's 12 kids. And I didn't know nothing about, you know, how to get the free food or nothing. So everything was just coming out of God's pocket. Like, he gives you money abundantly for you to, you know, and then every time my account became parched, it's like he plenished some more. He plenished some more. And I was just like, okay, Lord. So all I had to do was continue to acknowledge him, because it makes you, I mean, the way stuff be happening, you be like, okay, it's parched. I don't know. Did I spend too much? Did I do too much? You know, what am I doing wrong? But then he'll bless me again. But it's like he just wants to make sure that we keep continuously acknowledging him. See, I'm not one of them. I don't try to act like fake, like, oh yeah, I just got money over here. This is da 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 da. When I have money, I give, and I give, because I am a giver. But thankfully, he has helped me with my discernment, because I don't just give to anybody. I acknowledge him before I give to them, period. But I know the kids, he helped me to pay for them. Other than that, adults, it's up to God. I ain't about to just be like I used to, honey. But anyways, so don't try to play me, period. Let that be clear real quick, because God is really legit. But like he said, we're supposed to give our whole bodies as a sacrifice. All of it, the mind, body, all of this whole thing. All of it. All of it. Physically, mentally, spiritually, all of it. We're giving anything to anything else. We're putting that as our God, and we're putting that before God. I had to learn that, because I was like, what? Even with my kids, remember I told y'all, I was like, I don't love nobody. I don't care if I get married. Ain't nobody gonna be coming for my kids. They are first, and I love them more than anything in this world. Nobody, not my mama, not my daddy, nobody. I don't love nobody before my kids. That's how I was. Nobody. I ain't caring. These are my babies. I don't love nobody else but them. Nobody comes before them. Period. I didn't know what I was talking about. I had no clue what I was talking about. I had to fix that real quick. God comes first before anybody. I love God over all things. All of them. And I love God. Like, it wasn't like I didn't include God, but I was like, yeah, the kids are right there with God. And I'm like, oh my. Now that I hear myself, I'm like, oh, I can't believe I said that. But I did. I'm like, my kids up there with God. That's how much I love them. I love them as much as I love God. But I don't. I'm not saying that no more. I'm not saying that no more. I'm not saying that no more. I love God above all things, including my kids. They come after God, after Him. No, nobody comes before God. I love God above all things. All things. I don't love nothing else. It's just God. Hold on, let me make sure that this don't drop. But I love God. I want to make sure that's clear, honey. I had to figure that out real quick. So don't let anything have more control over you than God. Don't let your job, don't let nobody take care of God. We have to be available to Him and not them. Mad. He mad. You're gonna be glad. Now, let me hurry up. Romans 12th chapter, we just read that we're supposed to give our whole body, says all of us, the whole body. We're giving any parts physically, literally, mentally, to anything else that's not giving our whole bodies to God. Period. You're married now, you ain't got boom. That's what He wants. Then it said, Romans the 12th chapter, verse 2, it says, do not conform to the pattern of this world. So that's what I'm trying to tell you. I thought I was doing things right by having a job, going to school, doing all this stuff, looking like a fool to God. But I was conforming to the way of this world. And that's not the way God can do it. And not to say that God will not have you to work a job or anything like that, but you have to do it in God, acknowledge God, and see if that's the way He wants you to ride. Period. Now, so you don't deny God. Now, it says, do not conform to the pattern of the world, but be transformed in the renewing of your mind. He had a renewed mind, so I won't be blind all the time. Then you will be able to test and approve what God's will is. His good, pleasing, and perfect will. Then, my friend, it says then. Romans chapters 1 through 2. It says then. Be able to test and approve what God's will is. But until Okay, I am back to be exact. This is great anyways for the video because, this shows that even when the devil tries to um, stop what God is trying to have you to do, don't be confused. Continue to do what God has you to do. Continue to do the video. Don't let it stop the flow that you know that God wants you to go. Period. So this goes along with everything that God wanted me to do anyway. This is perfect. I could have been like, oh man, now I can't use this video. Now this, now that, now, he done ruined everything. I could have perceived it and my perception could have been warped like that. But I just figured out another way to get back on here and continue to do what God has me to do. There's going to be technicalities, there's going to be things that's going to try to stop and make you drop the things that God has you to do because it's going to have you confused. That's why he tell you not to lean to your own understanding, but to acknowledge him in all of your ways because these type of things are going to happen. Now you can be like, oh, well, I'm not going to do the video now that, my signal went down or whatever. I mean, the whole thing system went off and it wouldn't even come back on. Everything else would come back on, but not that. So I could have quit, but this is this fits this video, not to quit. And know that God clearly was flowing. And and then I could have been like, well, God, why did you, I could have perceived it so wrong. And I could have been like, why would you allow that to happen? But this is still part of, his plan. It shows that no matter what happens when you are doing what he has you to do, don't be confused. Don't think that that is not what he has you to do. If you know for a fact that that's what he has you to know, knowing that it's good and it's to help others, then of course that's something that he has you to do. If that's what he told you to do, you're supposed to do it and complete it and finish it. I could have been like, well, it's off. I guess I'm done. I'm not doing this. This gets on my nerves. It's irritating. And it is. I'm not saying like, oh, this didn't get on my nerves. When I couldn't figure out how to get back on there and it wouldn't let me get back on, I was like, okay, there's other ways. He always provides a way. When you think that there's no way, he always provides a way. And this is another way. I just had to get on my phone and continue to move on, moving right along, like my apostle would say, moving right along. Moving right along. That's all we have to do is continue to move on. Don't stop what God has you to do. Continue to do what he has you to do. Do not conform to the things of this world. That's what he told you. Do not conform to the things of this world.